My name is Mary. Do you want me to lean in closer to your microphone? No? No? Oh, okay. Okay, just right here? I'm okay right here? Okay, cause I can lean in closer if you'd like me to. No? 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 Okay, okay. Shoot, I thought I was helping you. Woo! Should I start over then? Okay, thank you. I don't know why I said thank you. Woo! Okay. Okay. My name is Mary Swanson, and I grew up with Celia Merode. Celia Merode. Sorry, I don't know why I said her name like that. You know her name. Woo! No, I don't think I remember when I first met Celia. We would have met in kindergarten in, gosh, 70, 71. I guess that's more than 30 years ago now. But I don't really remember actually meeting. Not the first time anyway. What would you call that? A memory that you've forgotten? A forgettery? That's not a word. Sorry, I'm not usually so... I think the camera is making me nervous. Woo! I was nothing like Celia. Oh no. I wasn't thinking about fine art then. No. I was a normal 10-year-old. I mean, this wasn't exactly... What's that fancy schmancy school in France? What did you call it? The Sorbonne? No, I don't think that's what I'm thinking of. That doesn't sound right to me. Okay, if you insist. What was it? The Sorbonne? Okay. Anyways, the Iowa City public school system was not that. And our downtown was built up, at least for Iowa, but if you got just a few blocks out, newbies thought they were out in the sticks. Still do, really. Still a lot of farmhouses, white clapboard siding that's been this close to falling off for decades. Yeah, my first clear memory of Celia had to do with Anna. Yeah, of course it had to do with Anna, right? We were in our elementary school's cafeteria eating fish sticks. Ugh. And Celia was drawing on a piece of notebook paper, very seriously, like way more focused than she ever was in class. Her pigtails hung over her shoulders onto the table on either side of her drawing. The rest of us were probably talking about something silly like Welcome Back, Cotter. We all liked deciding which boys in our grade were each of the sweat hogs. This boy I had a crush on was always Vinny, obviously, you know, John Travolta's character. We all looked over at Celia and she still had her eyes just glued to that page. And she did not care one way or another about the sweat hogs. And then this girl, Julia, she started saying, hello, hello, Earth to Celia. So Celia finally looked up and grunted. What? It was a little surly, like we'd just broken her concentration. She'd been drawing since we'd sat down, and we all leaned in, trying to take a closer look at her picture. Julia, she snatched it away from her and held it in front of her face and started just studying it like it was Egyptian hieroglyphs. She said, "I don't get it," and slid it across the table to me. I turned the picture on its side and then upside down, or maybe that was actually right side up. So I squinted and said, I don't get it either. So Celia, she tried to explain. Celia had her dumb fucking arms crossed. We asked, "What the hell are you doing over there, you little weirdo?" But she just glared at us, like she was trying to decide if we deserved to know whatever she knew. Like we were the weird ones. After rolling her eyes at us, she uncrossed her arms, slapped her palms on the table, and said, "A body." She let that word hang in the air like she wanted to scare us. She did scare us. She said, "Sam took me out to Old Man's Crick to find a body." Sam is her older cousin, like way older. He's maybe like 10, 15 years older than us. Like old enough that it's kind of creepy that they were hanging out, right? At least looking back at it. I saw Sam pick her up from school once. He had like hair past his shoulders, these ridiculous Neil Young chops, and he's wearing this stupid leather fringe vest with no shirt on underneath. I think I saw him wearing it in town this year. Guy's still a hippie, and that was never even really a thing around here. We didn't give a shit about Sam, though. As soon as she said she went looking for a body, none of us were finishing our tater tots. So yeah, Old Man's Crick runs east just south of Iowa City, and it dumps into the Iowa River. No, it ain't much of a crick. Most of it flows through the middle of nothing, like farmland, undeveloped land. Even today, there ain't many houses down there. A lot of people here, like lifelong townies, wouldn't even know where it is, but if there was a body in the crick, we sure as hell wanted to know about it. Sam had picked her up in this puke green Chevy Chevelle that he used to drive around, and they went out to this grassy field that was dead brown because it was late fall. He told her, "This is it. This is where we'll find the body." He got out of the car and slammed the door behind him. But Celia, she ain't moving. She told us that she just stared at that silver door handle. And then she turned to Sam. He'd already walked 20 steps into the field, and he turns around and waves at her to join him, probably chain smoking the entire time. Celia shook her head and stayed put, and he just shrugged his shoulders and kept on waltzing into the woods. And Celia's just frozen. I bet she was about to crap her blue jeans. Celia didn't want to go looking for a body, but she had a little kid's imagination. Sorry, you'd probably say an artist's imagination. She didn't like being alone in that car where the body might come looking for her either. So she finally scrambled out the door and yelled, "Sam! Sam!" She caught up to him before he disappeared. They were cutting between all these elm and oak trees, and the whole time, Sam's saying, "I think we're getting closer to the body." Disgusting. Celia didn't know where to look. He stopped to light up another smoke, and Celia just wanted him to keep moving. Just find this goddamn body already, Sam, so it'd finally be over. That first shock. Then they finally broke through the woods where the trees opened up to Old Man's Crick. Rocks and dead leaves filled the shoreline. Celia said she saw a bunch of brown oak leaves piled up like a body. And she just thought, oh, no, please, no. But then Sam, he just kicked right through him. He said, I think that's her up ahead. Celia's like, her? Why did it have to be a girl? She just assumed it'd be a dead man. I don't know why that makes it any better, but, it does, right? Then Sam's walking along the creek, stepping over boulders that Celia's got to walk around. Then he stops. Celia stops. She's 10 steps behind him. Sam pulls out a cigarette, lights it up. Then he turns around and grins at her like he's some creepy Charles Manson wannabe. And like he's all proud of himself, he says, found her. Celia told us that she still didn't see a body. So she took those last 10 steps between the rocks to get to it. And she was going really slowly, but when she stood next to Sam, she was trying really hard not to look scared about wherever he just brought her. And then I guess they just stared at the ground for a really long time. Long enough for Celia to get really confused about whatever they were looking at. She said the leaves and rocks had been cleared away from a patch that was maybe 5 feet long and 2 feet wide, an oval. She didn't get it. There wasn't a body there. It was just a bunch of black ash. And then Sam said, this is Anna. Celia jerked her head at him so fast that her pigtails flipped off her shoulders. She thought he'd fried some woman to a crisp and dumped her ashes in the woods. So I was babysitting my baby cousin Celia. Yeah, she ain't a baby today, but I'm babysitting her because, sister, I needed the De Niro, I mean, I was just a grad student doing this little intermediate arts program at, you might have heard of it, the University of Iowa. It was a big fucking deal back then, man. Hans Breder started that program. It was revolutionary. I mean, fuck RISD, fuck Cooper Union. Hans's little outfit was way ahead of them. He got all these people to come give talks, talk shop. Vito Acconci came. Vito even recreated that performance piece where people walk into the gallery and he's hiding under the floor, masturbating for hours. People can hear him getting off beneath them, moaning. You might think that would freak out the Iowa squares, man, but we could do whatever we wanted and nobody gave two shits. Or maybe they just didn't know it was happening. I mean, Iowa City wasn't so small for just being 45,000 people back then. I mean, hell, Springsteen had just come into town right before Celia and I were hanging out. The boss tore the roof off that mother, man. Oh, we got a lot of culture there for being wah-wah, flyover country, or whatever these frou-frou shits in San Francisco like to call it. That doesn't mean that I made any cash from my performance art, though. Our neighbors might have been cool with guest lecturers whacking off beneath the floorboards, but they weren't paying for that. So, lucky for me, Celia's regular babysitter had moved away for college. And lucky for Celia, I became the babysitter that fall. I never watched a kid before. I didn't know what I was doing at all. When I heard that Sam was going to babysit us, I made plans to hang out at a friend's house instead. Even at 8 years old, I was 2 years younger than Celia. I knew better. I had this classmate then. I know some people know her name now, but they didn't then. She was just a kid then, really. We were all just kids. It was Anna. She was from Cuba. I asked Celia, who's Anna? Do you mean Anna Branson? There was an Anna Branson in our grade back then. And actually, she works at the Petco today. She washes my corgis. And in fact, let me show you some pictures of them. Let me just grab my phone from my purse. Oh, okay. Later, when we're done. Okay. Woo. Anyways, Anna Branson. Celia just glared at me like I just licked snot off my lips. It was not Anna Branson. So Celia said, Anna. It's pronounced Anna. Anna. 1 N. Even in 4th grade, Celia could make you feel kind of dumb. She could make you feel great, too. Maybe even cool like her, but if you didn't do it Celia's way, oh boy, it was all over. I already had a master's in painting when I met her, but painting was so out in the 70s. Anna got hooked on performance art like the rest of us. She was doing amazing work, miles ahead of everyone else. There's this one piece she did called Chicken Piece. Probably should have been called Chicken Pieces. She gets this live chicken in the studio, and another student, he wrangles the bird down, and our professor, he takes his axe and he swings it over his shoulder like he's Paul Bunyan and takes the damn bird's head off. Blood's spurting out of the neck, and the wings are going nuts. So, oh, by the way, Anna's totally naked. She's standing up against this white wall, and they hand her the headless bird, and blood's splashing all over her stomach, and she's trying real hard not to cringe. The film from that performance is far, far out. So I get this babysitting gig, and I'm thinking, I don't know, kids like animals, so maybe I should show Celia some of Anna's work. Maybe there'd be more chickens. I don't want to imply that she didn't know any better than I did. She did. She's just always been drawn to people like Sam and the places that they bring her. Like, on one hand, she didn't know what she'd be getting into, but on the other hand, I think that was the point for her. I knew Anna was working on something killer that November. I was supposed to go help her put it together, but anyway, Anna said I'd go check out her new works, right? She called these new works silhouettes. That's silhouettes for dum-dums like I was. So I take Celia down to Old Man's Creek to go check them out. That first piece we saw was called Alma, Silueta en Fuego. Anna had dug out this silhouette of herself in the ground, and she took this cardboard cutout of her shape, and she wrapped it in cloth, and she put it in the ground, and she lit it up, and she filmed it. It It was hot shit. Even just the black ashes left behind in her shape. That's all we saw was her silhouette. But after Celia realized I was just joshing her about looking for a body, she got pretty fucking annoyed for a 10-year-old. She punched me in the kidney. You said it'd be a body. Blah, blah, blah. Jeez, I gotta make babysitting fun somehow, right? He called it fun. I didn't think my aunt would call me up to babysit again. She didn't, but Celia did. So she wants to hang out with me. Sure, I'd love to hang out with a 10-year-old. I gotta get paid for something, right? I don't think Celia knew her mom was paying me to hang out. So that second time, I go and pick up Celia at her house. She's in her brother's baggy hand-me-down jeans and t-shirt. She hops into the car and looks straight ahead, not even at me, and she goes, "So we're gonna look for more bodies today?" Very sarcastic. I'm like, "Whoa, big girl, I'm the adult here. And yeah, we're gonna go look for Anna's body again. But this time she's gonna be there. Live bodies. You're gonna see her in flesh and blood." And as soon as I say the word blood, I kind of laugh to myself, cracking myself up. And Celia looks at me and says, "What's so funny?" And I turn to her and I say, "Oh, when I said flesh and blood, I realized you might really see some blood." She uses it in a lot of her work. So she goes, "Oh yeah? Is the blood just more sticks and leaves?" So I said, no, dig this. A year ago, she had a bunch of us out around the same spot on the creek, and she did this performance called Blood and Feathers. She's totally naked at the water's edge, and she has this big bucket of blood, and there are all these chicken feathers piled around her feet. And so she lifts the bucket over her head and starts pouring it down her back and shoulders and arms and stomach and her legs, and then she rolls around in the feathers until the reds all turn fluffy white, and Celia's looking at me like it's all fucking nuts. And she says, "I thought you were in art classes." It is art, body art, very forward thinking, very now, not just now, it's tomorrow. If you want to see tomorrow, all you gotta do is meet my good friend Anna. And Celia's all confused, and she says, "Where does she get the blood?" "The blood? I don't know. Probably little girls like you." Yeah, she got out of that stupid car again. She followed that dipshit into the woods. I do not know why Celia kept going. It all sounded like witchcraft to me. Definitely didn't sound like art. Not then and not now. I prefer real art, paintings. But do you know what else he thought was art? Celia leaned over the lunch table. She told us all to come closer so she could whisper what he'd said in the woods. What did he say? He said, "Hey kiddo, do you know what rape is?" Fuck yeah, that got her attention. She said, "Yeah, I know." Real confident like that. So I said, "Okay, little Miss Adult, what is it?" And she said, "It's when a man kisses a woman, but she doesn't want to be kissed." Just kissed? Okay. And what happens when the woman doesn't want to be kissed? So she said, "She's raped?" Oh, really? I think I've bitten off more than I can chew here. I'd have Anna show you some pictures, but That'd probably be too much for your parents. So Celia got this scrunched up look on her face and said, "Pictures?" I said, "Art! Photographs! She's an artist! She takes pics of her art!" She still looked la-la. So I told her how Anna had invited us students up to her apartment on Moffett Street. It'd be a performance. She didn't say what she'd do, she just said be there. So we get to Anna's door and it's cracked open a little bit. It's eerie peeking between the door and the frame. Just one light hung in the kitchen. It shined on somebody bent over a table. So we opened the door a little more and saw that it was a woman. Anna. She didn't have any pants on. So we stopped. Every time we spotted a new detail, we stopped before taking another step. Her plaid shirt was hiked up on her back. We had all seen Anna naked before, but some of us turned pale because this blood, her blood, stage blood, we didn't know yet. It had dried all over her legs and butt. Bloody underwear was all balled up at her ankles. A few of us circled the table and saw her face down in more blood. Somebody had tied her wrists to a table leg, and it looked like medieval torture. That place felt like a horror movie, man. We were all so wigged out. We sat on the floor one by one, like we were too dizzy to stand. Anna didn't move for a full hour, and we just watched like accomplices. It was art, a performance. But fuck, it felt like we did it to her. I couldn't believe what Celia was telling us at that lunch table. I mean, and actually, you know, can I just take this? Sorry. I think this feels better for me if I just hold on to the microphone. This feels right. I'm kind of like a news reporter now. Sorry. Right. Celia was in the woods. So I couldn't believe that Celia just kept walking deeper into the woods with him. I mean, no, I didn't know what rape was. I mean, I was 10, and it was the 1970s. People didn't talk about that kind of thing back then. I'm pretty sure that at that point, the only place where I'd even read about it was the Bible. And I don't think I even really understood that when I was reading it back then. And you know, if you go back to that part, the Bible only really says how men get hurt when a woman is raped. When we finally got to the creek, I knew we just missed Anna. Fuck yeah, Celia was relieved. We stood over the 5-foot silhouette, the same one as before, but now the ashes were gone. A rock covered in red tempera sat in its chest, where Anna's heart would be. Celia got down on her knees and she scooped her hand along the inner edge of the silhouette, pushing the dead leaves from the chest down to the waist. And she asked me, "Are the leaves part of it?" I wasn't really sure. The silhouettes were all different. So I asked her, "What do you think?" No, not condescending at all. More like a professor trying to get an interesting answer out of her. I kind of realize that when a professor does that, he probably doesn't fucking know either. But she looked up at me, and she had this really sincere look on her face. And she said, if she was just here, the leaves are probably supposed to be here. I think she wants nature to fill it in. Celia ripped the drawing right out of my hands, and she spread the paper flat out on the lunch table, and then she took her pointer finger and she just jabbed it down onto the outline of this figure that she had drawn, and she started to slowly trace it, and she named off all of the body parts as her finger was going along. She slid her finger around one upright arm and said, right arm. She curved over the round top and said, head. She traced the other upright arm and said, left arm. Then she swooped down to trace the torso and legs, chest, waist, legs, feet. It looked like a mummy with both of its hands raised up on either side of its head, and then Celia, she lifted up her finger off the page, and then she pressed it really hard into where the figure's heart would be. Anna Mendieta.